What's up? My name is Technoba here for Troubleshoot, and today I'm going to be starting a new series that I'll slowly add to in the future. If you're interested in watching more of this playlist, make sure to check the description down below. Basically, in this new series, I'll be running through the featured mod packs on the Twitch launcher, and I'll be running through how to set up game servers for all of these over here. Today we're going to be starting with the highest rated one, the highest unfeatured, Valhesia 2. This is a 1.15.2 mod pack, and today I'll be showing you how you can set up a game server for this, though I won't be covering port forwarding. If you're interested in port forwarding your server to get people outside of your local network to connect to it, then make sure to check the description down below for a complete video explaining that. If you have more than one router connecting you to the internet, then there's another video linked down below which explains multi-router port forwarding. It's a little bit more confusing, but should still be simple enough to understand. Basically, open up the Twitch launcher, head across to the Mods tab, click on Minecraft, browse mod packs, and then go ahead and search for the mod pack that you're trying to install, Valhesia 2. Then when you're on this page over here, in the top right, click Download Server Pack. A new web page will open and it'll automatically download a .zip file. This zip is 225 megabytes big, but of course, that file size may change at some stage in the future. When this is done downloading, I'll simply copy it across to my desktop to make it easier to see. After it's done downloading, simply open up the zip and then extract the folder from inside of it onto a place like your desktop or somewhere where you're not going to lose it. After doing that, you can close out of the zip and simply open up the folder. Then we have a bunch of these files inside of here. There's a README text document over here, which explains some information on what you need to do for the server. What we'll be doing, because we're on Windows, is running the server start.bat file. I'll click Run. And after doing that, you'll see some text, then it should eventually close out and say you need to accept the EULA agreement. What exactly is this? Well, having a look at our folder over here, there's a new EULA.txt file. Opening that up, simply select false and change it to true. Save it and close it. Then over here, they mention for WorldGen, the level type setting in server.properties must be set to biomes aplenty or terraforged. Do this before starting the server. What exactly does that mean? Well, we do it over here in step 2 before we launch it up again. So opening up server.properties with Notepad or a similar program, we'll simply locate the line, level type, and we'll change it to biomes aplenty or terraforged. I'll be changing it to terraforged just for an example. So scrolling down, we have level name, level seed, and then level type. I'll be changing it from default to terraforged. I'll hit Ctrl S, and while we're here, we can scroll down to the very bottom. We can double check the port. This will be useful for port forwarding later if you plan on doing that. We can change the maximum view distance. We can set an MOTD. We'll just call this Troubleshoots Server. Then after messing around with the settings as we see fit, hit Ctrl S and close out of it. Hitting Ctrl S saves the document. Then we'll simply open up startserver.bat. But of course, if you want to give the server some more RAM, right-click on server.bat and then click Run if you're prompted. Then we'll see this over here. Simply find XMS 4G and XMX 4G. Of course, these numbers might be slightly different. XMS is the starting amount of RAM that we're going to give the actual server, and XMX is the maximum amount of RAM that the server can take. Now, I have a rather beefy PC to say the least, with 64 gigabytes of RAM, but of course, you're probably going to be running 8 or 16. If you're running 8, then make sure you have enough on top of that for Windows and the actual game itself to play. Note that you will need actual memory to run the server. It's not just going to run on thin air. And on top of that, you'll need some space left for your PC to actually function, and of course the game or a game if you're looking to play while hosting the server. For me, I'll simply change it to 12 gigs or 16 gigs. The capital G stands for gigabytes. Of course, if you want to get more specific, you can change the capital G to a capital M to make it megabytes, and then you can go ahead and enter some more text. So 16G is equivalent to 16,000 M. 16 gigabytes, 16,000 megabytes. Either way, I'll leave it as 16G, XMX 16G, Ctrl S to save it. I can close out of the text document, double-click on startserver.bat, run, and now our game server is finally actually starting up. From here, it'll go ahead and generate the actual world, load up all of the mods, and this can take some time. I'll simply put this to the side, I'll move this to the side as well, and I'll go ahead and launch up the actual game itself. Though before doing that, I'll simply head across to the mods page, Minecraft, I'll select Valhesia 2, and I'll click the options button in the top right. Then profile options, memory settings, I'll uncheck this and I'll give it the maximum amount of RAM that I can. Note that of course, if you're going to be doing this, make sure you have enough for the actual server itself to run. This is the server taking 12 gigs of space over here. And of course, make sure you have enough for your actual game itself to run. And on top of that, Windows will use a bit, OBS or anything else will also use a bit, so just make sure you have extra RAM left over. I of course have tons of space, so I'll set it to 12 and then hit play. After downloading or updating the Minecraft launcher, we'll simply be asked to log in, and after doing that, we'll have our game version selected in the bottom left. Simply make sure it's Valhesia 2 and hit play. Now of course, I'll simply wait for the actual game itself to load up, and I'll wait for the actual server to start up. Once these are both done, I'll get back to the video. And there we go, we're finally on the actual main menu itself. I'll simply head across into the multiplayer section, and of course, because I'm hosting it on the same PC that I'm actually playing the game, I can simply add a server, give it a name, and for the address, I can either use localhost, or I can use 127.0.0.1 as such. I'll hit done, and in a couple of seconds, you should see my server is live. I can simply click on it and click join server. Then you can see on the console over here, some things are happening as I'm connecting, and eventually I should be dropped into the game world itself. And finally, we're in the actual game server itself. I'll make the window a bit bigger, and you can see exactly what's going on. Now, because I just joined the server, I won't have op, game mode creative, won't do anything. I'll simply head into the console, op, followed by my username. I'll hit enter, and as you can see, made techno an operator. I can try the game mode creative command again, and all of a sudden I'm in creative mode. I can access the full and not enough items screen, and I can spawn on myself whatever I want. Of course, if you don't want op, you don't have to give it to anyone, but you can go ahead and play the game as you'd expect. Now, of course, I selected not biomes aplenty. If you want to have biomes aplenty instead, you're more than free to go ahead and select it, and simply delete the actual world files folder itself, and regenerate your world by restarting the server. Assuming that you've built a bunch of stuff and you'd like to save and close your server, simply disconnect from the server and head into the actual console itself. Now note that hitting the X usually will save everything, but that's not always guaranteed. If you want to make absolutely 100% sure that the entire game world is saved and all of your progress will be there, type in save-all. Hit enter, the game world will save, it may take a moment, and once that's done, you can go ahead and type in stop to gracefully bring the server to a close. Note that hitting the X up here isn't exactly too graceful, it may end up breaking something, so using the stop command and the save all command are probably what you should be using. To start it up again, simply locate server.bat, double click on it, and your server will run as expected. Now, of course, make sure that your firewall is open if you'd like people to connect to your PC, and for port forwarding guides, etc., check the description down below, because those are a little bit long to explain in this video as long as it is already. It's much easier to just point to one generalized video that's easy enough to understand. Anyways, that's about it. Thank you all for watching. My name's been Technoba here for Troubleshoot, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao!